a 3-2 zone, it's much more difficult to secure those missed shots, those loose balls if you're playing zone.
There is the mastermind of the defense-oriented JRU, Vergel Meneses, first-year head coach for the Heavy Bombers. You've got to wonder at this point, why does not Frankie Lim insert Sudan Daniel for defensive purposes? Because some of the big men, Montemayor and Lopez, have been able to score inside the paint, and there is a tip by Montemayor off the Lopez miss.
Actually, that alley-oop play is usually designed for Joe Etame, but John Lopez can fetch those balls. He missed, but this time it's 6'6" John Allen Montemayor who secured the offensive board and scored on a putback. I mean, this guy is actually a fifth-year player, sparingly used in his career in JRU.
There's the alley-oop on our slow-mo, brought to you by Axe Twist. Axe Twist, the fragrance that changes. Montemayor with the tip off the Lopez miss. And you're wondering now, it's just a matter of seconds, perhaps, or minutes before Daniel will be called to the floor by Frankie Lim of San Beda. It is now an 8-point advantage.
But this is by design, Eric, because Coach Frankie Lim does not usually field in Sudan Daniel in the starting five, and he comes off the bench to provide that spark and that energy. And I think it's a ploy, really, by San Beda, because Coach Frankie Lim wants the game to settle to a particular tempo first before inserting Daniel into the game.
Daniel will be indefinitely for defensive purposes, but right now the offense of San Beda has screeched to a grinding halt. They have been scoreless in the last 4 minutes, and there it is, being inserted into the ballgame. The shock troopers, Sudan Daniel, will check in along with De La Rosa and also Pascual.
This is the troika that led San Beda oh so close to what would have been a 4th consecutive championship. And really, Jake Pascual, Rom De La Rosa is the leading scorer of the San Beda Red Lions in this tournament. Jake Pascual, we know what he can do, can extend the defense and at the same time penetrate. Look for the high-low play. That is one thing that Pascual and Daniel love to do, or love doing in the NCAA wars last season, with Pascual giving the ball to Daniel, provided that Daniel has sealed his defender near the basket.
I don't know if he needs to seal anybody, because in that instance, that was the high-low play, perfectly executed by Pascual to Daniel, and Daniel wasn't even as sealed inside against his defender as technically you should be.
Yes.
But the length and the athleticism of Daniel is one of a kind.
And that's why we will see Joe Etame in the game in a matter of seconds.
Ulangis to Matute, seeing action for the first time, both of these players as well for the Heavy Bombers. Montemayor, a little time shaved off with the ball in his hands and a traveling violation on Ulangis. And as Etame was ready to get in the ballgame, timeout is called. We'll be right back. 14-7, JRU on top.
Well, it's these two teams that will get the NCAA season 86 going, of course, after the hosts, San Sebastian College Recoletos, take on the Letran Knights. San Sebastian, of course, losing Jimbo Aquino, their assassin, but retaining practically the entire team
everyone else
from last year. And we spoke about losses earlier for JRU. This is one of the teams in the NCAA that nurses those departures. Wilson and Kagoko were their two leading scorers last season.
And Wilson even had one more year actually remaining, but he opted not to play in his final year.
Exactly, and just to declare himself eligible for the pros, sitting out his final season. So that's one of the question marks surrounding the Jose Rizal University Heavy Bombers. Where exactly will Vergel Meneses get his offense?
Well, for the last few games, he's been getting the offense from Joe Etame, who is on the floor. And he is guarding, of course, who else but Sudan Daniel. Well, this is going to be a very interesting matchup, as the Red Lions will try to battle back down by 7 with 2:40 remaining in the first.
San Beda now with employing its 2-1-2 trap, almost working there.
But San Beda can still contain the offensive, boards of JRU.
You know, the Heavy Bombers are maintaining a huge advantage on the glass. I think it's 13-5 right now, Eric.
And now it's a 9-point advantage for the Heavy Bombers. 16-7. From the outside, Pascual misses. Oh, picked up by one of the smallest guys on the court. Beda with a putback there.
You know, Borgi Beda in his final year for San Beda, he's got a really, really good nose for that ball.
A trap and a completed steal, and Beda will go for the finish here. Back-to-back baskets for the Red Lions to try and claw back from being down by as much as 9.
This 2-1-2 half-court press is one of San Beda's primary weapons defensively, as we see Joe Etame showing off his perimeter skills. But so far, this trap has been working for the Red Lions.
It's going to be a long afternoon for Daniel if he has to pick up Etame from out there, because he needs to be inside guarding the paint.
It's a good point.
Lanete. Defense not biting on the fake. Here's Beda. Rushed shot, and Etame taking care of the board. Lazy and crazy pass by NJ, but Lopez gets it back for JRU.
This 9-point lead that JRU has, really a product of those easy baskets. They're playing their hearts out defensively.
Pascual inside, gets an open look. First basket for Jake Pascual. 7-point advantage still for JRU. Under a minute remaining in the first quarter. They wanted to go inside to Etame, tapped from behind by Daniel. Here comes Lanete using the left hand against NJ, trying to be tricky there, and it picks up the foul from NJ.
In that previous possession, San Beda shifted from its 3-2 zone to a man-to-man. San Beda is very, very efficient in shuffling defenses on the fly, and that's what makes them tricky and difficult to score on.
There you see the foul committed by NJ, which puts Garvo Lanete at the line. Back-to-back games for Garvo Lanete, 23 and 21 points respectively. That was against Letran and Perpetual. What a series of games for this young man.
The leading scorer of the Red Lions in season 85. Very underrated and unheralded because of his more illustrious teammates, but nonetheless, one of the most efficient jump shooters in collegiate basketball.
I would have to agree. Here again is that press by San Beda. About 4 seconds separates game and shot clock. 10 on the 24. Here's Etame. Very soft, gentle hands for the big man, Joe Etame. 2 shots from distance already for him. San Beda runs it all the way and unfortunately runs the clock out as well, and they fail to make an attempt as the first quarter is done and over with. 22-15. JRU with the lead after their defense put San Beda in a bit of trouble there and stopped San Beda's offense for about 4 minutes till Daniel came in and put San Beda back on track. 22-15 at the end of one quarter. JRU is on top.